Invitado, entonces ya te tocaría hacerlo a
Okay,
ti directamente.
I am going to.
Ok, profe, ¿necesitas o
Excellent.
requieres algo más de mi parte o me
No
puedo
more. I
retirar?
think it is okay.
Bueno, profe, es con mucho gusto. Una feliz tarde y que disfruten este
Igualmente, muchas
conversatorio.
gracias.
Muchas
Hasta luego.
gracias.
So meanwhile, we are going to say hello to the people who have attended early, and we are going to see the connections at 3. We are going to give full microphones to Julian, and of course, you can ask questions directly through the microphone or on the chat. Yeah. So Alexander Palau, Zoraida
Teacher,
Trejos, tell
hi
us hello,
everybody.
Alexander. How are you?
Fine, thank you. You,
So
teacher.
good. So happy to have you here.
Thank you.
What do you do, Mr. Palau?
I'm psychologist, Mr. Not. Alex is okay.
Okay, Alexander. Alexander, you know, that is another area that will play a very important role in the near future, or I don't know now. I think psychologists work hard in order to help astronauts, engineers, all these people in order to make it successful. You
Yeah,
see,
I think that is very important
look at what
topic to the
Julian
travels.
look at what Julian says. A big application of satellites is socio-spatial studies and analysis. So that is another element in which you could play.
Mhm.
Very good. Congratulations. So Raida Trejos, what do you say? Tell us about you. What do you do? And have you ever dreamt of being, out of the space?
Hi everyone.
Hello.
I am physics. I'm not interested in traveling into space, but everything related related to space seems very interesting and exciting. Exciting
Excellent. Yeah,
for
everything related to
hobby,
that is
entertainment.
and as long as you study physics, you might be interested in all those measurements and projections and understanding the logic of the mass of the fluids. Yeah,
Yes,
excellent.
spectroscopy and others.
That is fantastic. So we are getting the connections and activate all the questions you may have for our guest. And that is fantastic because in that way we can have an interaction. Remember that you can participate by turning on the microphone or simply by typing on the chat. Beatriz, hello, how are you? What do you have to say? Tell us about you. Tell us about your interest.
Hi, teacher. Sorry, I don't listen in good.
Yeah, well, should I
Repeat me,
speak
please.
loud? Yes, yes. Hello, Beatriz. How are you today? Tell us about you. What's your interest? What's your field of work? If you, we are asking if you'd like to travel abroad. I mean, to come out of our space. To travel to the moon, to Mars, to Jupiter, and to other galaxies. Which would you like to?
Galaxies. Teacher, in about this topic, I no sé mucho. Is only my curiosidad,
Excellent.
curiosity.
Curiosity, Beatriz, that is very important because maybe you don't know, but that curiosity will take you to other fields, will open questions on you, and curiosity opens the door to new chances, to new opportunities. So
Yeah,
excellent. That's the most
yes,
important.
it's true.
The
Yes.
people say that the first step to learn is curiosity. Well, it's 3 o'clock. So on your marks, ready, go. Welcome to all our people who accepted the invitation to this chat with Julian Arenas. He is going to tell us all about this space experience. He's an aerospace engineer, and he studied abroad. He has been at NASA, and he has gotten a lot of experience, and now he's working on different projects at Cipsela. And please, Professor, introduce yourself, and remember, audience, that you can turn on the microphone or just raise your hand and ask for participation, so this be interactive, right? Maria Fernanda,
Okay,
welcome.
Professor.
Excellent. I am going to be like interrupting, but introduce yourself. You are the star.
Thank you very much, Professor. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for the audience to participate this kind of events. I knew about these events while I was the chairman of the aerospace engineering program at Universidad de Antioquia in the in the East headquarters, or it's not the best way to say it, in the sectional Oriente, because
in the East sectional.
Yeah, the East sectional.
How are you? Fine, thank you.
Thank you, thank you. But now I am in the private sector running a startup called Cipsela. We are a not-for-profit startup sponsored by the Boeing company from the United States, but our mission is to take STEM education in the elementary and high school levels in Colombia and even in Latin America. But we are now escalating to the university level. As I have been a university professor, so university is in my heart. So the idea is that our team will migrate to that point. Before I was the chairman of the aerospace engineering program, I went to the University of Texas at Austin to participate in some research in aerospace engineering, mainly with trajectories in the solar system for space vehicles. But my undergraduate degree, I got it at Universidad de Antioquia as a mechanical engineer. So really, I am in this conversation, I feel in home because it's our university. And thank you very much for inviting me to chat a bit with you at the Universidad de Antioquia.
Now that you mentioned that you are working at Cipsela and your focus is, teaching high school and children about this, that is amazing, because that is where we have to impact the society in order to make a transformation for bigger projects. Yeah, we have to make people know how this works and what the projection is concerning aerospace engineering. But we have to tell the students and the public in general what this is about, so that people can dream of possibilities in the future.
Really, we have two lines of work. The main, the aligned with the big issue that is aerospace. We can take the aerospace topics as rockets, airplanes, aviation to children, for example, in the east region of Antioquia, because the presence of the Jose Maria Cordova Airport and the possibilities of an aerospace economy. But we have now another front, more social. And it is a pleasure for me to speak about that line, because I am considering that it will be the big line. And why? Because we are trying to take the applications of space technology for societal benefits. For example, that we have at the moment a pilot program running in Cocorná with a rural school, and the students are beginning to analyze, elementary students are analyzing satellite imagery to recognize the territory, to care for the forests, for the water sources, to do a responsible minery for the future, to educate about the necessity to care for our planet. So I now think that our mission in a country as Colombia is not only the aerospace mission to be an aerospace engineer or an astronaut, but for society to comprehend how with space technology you can impact our planet in a better way. So that is the point now, is our big focus at Cixela at this moment.
Excellent. And now, people, let's begin with questions. What question do you have for our guest? No matter what question it is, it's a dialogue. Valentina, Jacobo, Michelle, Diana, just raise your hand and tell me. I will be observing or write on the chat. Who wants to speak? Jacobo. Anybody? Well, now while people get motivated to speak, I noticed something very important. It is that these pre-grade students, well, and not pre-grade, this is former education, the basic education, are now doing something that is really important and has an impact in the society. They are analyzing the satellites in order to protect the forest or to see the green areas versus the areas that have been deforested. That is a good application. So let me ask again, who wants to ask the first question, or I ask the first question? Juan David, David Alejandro, Alexander, Zoraida. Amparo, do you have a question? Diana Patricia, Valentina, Daniela Muñoz. If you want, you can turn on the microphone or you just can chat. You see, write the question on the chat. Yeah. The first question, Professor, is how easy or how difficult is it to become an aerospace engineer?
Really, that is a very good question, because it's a very common question in our country, in our society, in Colombia and Latin America, because everybody thinks that to be an aerospace engineer, you have to have the skills of an astronaut, for example. But the complete answer for that is not. You just need to have the same hobby, the same skills that you need to another engineering program, civil engineering, for example, electronics engineering, is the same skills, really. To be an aerospace engineer is not a difficult one. Even to be there are another careers at the undergraduate level that are more difficult than aerospace engineering. At the graduate level, maybe aerospace engineering turns a bit difficult, but at the graduate level, the same as another engineering at Universidad de Antioquia, for example. Universidad de Antioquia in Colombia is the only university to have a program called aerospace engineering with the aviation and space components. There are another programs in the country as aeronautical engineering, only in the flight in the atmosphere, but Universidad de Antioquia has a program with the two components, atmosphere and space, only in the country that is important to be mentioned here.
Excellent. Angela Maria.
Julian,
Angela Maria apparently has a question. I don't know who else has a question. Angela Maria has the microphone on. Yes. Tell me, mister.
At first, Angela Maria.
I don't know. Now you speak, because there was Angela Maria on the microphone, but now you please speak. What's your name? Alexander.
Alex. Yeah.
Alex, go.
Hello, Julian, and thank you for sharing with us your experience and your knowledge. And it's a good, how do you say, dato? It's a good reference that the only department in Colombia with this program is Universidad of Antioquia. That's very good point. I have a question about your main motivation for select this career for your life. What was the main motivation for study this career? Thank you.
If you allow me, Professor, I want to be a bit longer because it's a very good question for me. It's a very personal question, and I love to answer it. Since I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. But I was in Colombia at that time. In Colombia, just the programs more similar to an aerospace career was mechanical engineering, or maybe physics, or electrical electronic engineering. When I left the high school, I was totally sure I wanted to be an aerospace engineering, but I didn't have the money to go to the United States, for example, to run this career. And in Colombia, there were not universities, even with the program of aeronautical engineering. The more similar program was mechanical engineering. So I decided to pursue this career at Universidad de Antioquia, because Universidad de Antioquia at that time had a very small program in astronomy, included in the physics program. But I wanted to be an engineer, but it matched. So it was the reason I decided for Universidad de Antioquia. But all the time, I wanted to go for aerospace. And it was a hard time to fight against a lot of prejudices of the professors, of people telling you in Colombia you don't have the opportunity to work in aerospace. Better you can focus in another thing, for example, industrial applications of mechanical engineering. But with the time, I knew Professor César Ocampo, a very known person in Colombia now. He was a director of Colciencias just 2 years ago. Before that, Professor Ocampo was a professor at the University of Texas at Austin and a researcher at NASA. And when I meet Professor Ocampo invited me to go to Texas because I was realizing small works in my undergraduate program on my own time outside the university curriculum. And with that first time in Texas, the doors opened, and there were another opportunities to do research, to visit the NASA centers, and to know more people, to improve my English. At that time, I just had the opportunity to read in English, but not to speak. And really, we are now here in an English program, and this is a thing I tell to my students, even in our space. More that the notes in your class, more than your degree notes, the more important to open doors in other countries or in other opportunities is English, because you can communicate with professors, with persons in industry in another points of the planet. You can be more global, and that is the big point. After that, I returned to Colombia, and even here in Colombia, I was at the Universidad de Antioquia. I told about that some minutes ago. But now that I am working in Cipsela, I continue to work in Colombia. But all our sponsorship and our public is all Latin America, and the sponsorship is from the United States and Sweden. Even Sweden is a country that will support Cipsela. All this because English, because you can communicate your ideas, because you can go for the grants, and you can show that the qualities of our engineers. In Colombia, you have very good engineers, very good physics, very good physicians, very good professionals in all the areas. But the big barrier is the language, is to communicate and be more global. So that is a short history of my life.
Excellent.
About
Now,
my professional life.
Julian has sold us the idea, and that is good. It's a good seller. He's telling us that if you speak the language and if you have a good project, you can find sponsors from abroad and start working on your project, receiving money from abroad, and you can, project yourself not only in here in Antioquia, but in Colombia and Latin America, and who knows, Europe or somewhere else. In here we have a question, Diana Patricia. Diana Patricia, would you like to ask the question directly, please? Diana
Hello.
Patricia Vera.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I want to ask to Julian, what type of jobs can do an aerospatial engineer?
Very good question as well as the before. I feel as I was the chairman of the aerospace engineering program at Universidad de Antioquia, because at that time, all the time, the aspirants to the program were asking this kind of questions. Now we are in a time that world is changing very fast in transportation, because global climate change, because transportation is migrating to another fields or with greener approaches. For example, the electrical vehicles, drones, and the urban mobility is a concept, a very aerospace concept, but it is a very big concept. Urban mobility. This is how to use the third dimension for transportation, for urban transportation. So, for example, you have, if you analyze how we move or you commute from one point to another point in a city, you are using just 2 dimensions in a car, because the car all the time is put over the ground, or a train, for example. But now the concept is to use the third dimension. This is aviation, basically, but how to use cabs, taxis, for example, electrical drones with people on board. The application of drones in cities will be very big when when the government can reach the integration of the drone systems with the normal aviation for safety, to keep the safety for the commercial aircraft that we have now. But when we can have a very safe integration, then a lot of applications will spread around the world, including Medellin, including Colombia. So the point is that when a revolution is forming, you have to have the professionals on time for that. So now is the time to study a career as an aerospace engineering, because in 10 years, for example, there will be a blowout of applications. Not only in drones, on satellites, even on satellite imagery, and other things that are more related to the daily life than even space exploration. For example, for the countries with a lot of money, for the superpowers in the world, the United States, the Europeans, Russia, China, they are looking to go to Mars. They are looking to go for the moon. They are looking to do minery. That this is a very controversial point on the moon, for example. But there will be a lot of applications in our space here on Earth.
Excellent.
And we need
in here, we have 2 questions. We have Jacobo raising the hand and Juan David. Juan David, and then Juan Jacobo Mora. Juan David, ask your question, please. And then Jacobo.
Yes, Julian, it's very interesting what you say and your experience. I would like to know if Colombia should focus more in astronomy. I mean, if the country has some opportunities, like, for example, in technology with related to astronomy, or for example, I know that we are in the equator, so this area is important in the in relation with satellites. I don't know what do you think about do we need to focus more in astronomy, and what would be the purpose of it?
It's important to
Julian, I
yeah.
would like to listen to Jacobo, and or do you want to go first with Juan David and then with Jacobo? Jacobo,
Okay.
what's your question, Jacobo?
Well, thank you very much for this meeting. And I would like to ask Julian, do you consider that everybody should be interested in learning about astronomy? And the second one is, would you like to recommend us, for instance, books or websites and places to learn more about astronomy?
Okay, thank you, Jacobo. So let's go one by one. Should Colombia focus more on astronomy? I think Julian has now the answer. Which opportunities do we have in this field? And the other question, well, and in here, Jacobo said, what kind of books, what kind of elements should we read, or what pages can we visit in order to get more knowledge about this?
Okay, so please, Professor Martin, well, you in the way I am answering the question, please tell me again the questions, because there are a lot of them. There's an important thing. Astronomy is a field of science. It's a field of natural sciences. Aerospace engineering is another thing. And astronomy focuses to research about the universe, to investigating how the universe was formed, the planets, the galaxies, the science of our universe outside the planets, our planet. Aerospace engineering is a field that have to do with the vehicles that fly in the atmosphere, in our atmosphere, or even outside our atmosphere to another planet, or even to land on celestial bodies. For example, Mars, the Moon, or to orbit around another celestial bodies as Saturn, Jupiter, and another planets, for example. So it's different. It's a different.
So we can say that the summary is that astronomy is the study of the constellations, the formation of the galaxies, and all of this. But aerospace engineer is focused on how to build the spacecrafts in order to travel, in order to orbit, in order to know other space bodies. Yeah.
Yeah, correct. And now, no, aerospace engineering is not only for to travel to the celestial bodies, but to be with flight in our atmosphere. So the area comprehends all the spectrum of vehicles that fly in the Earth's atmosphere and to outside to the celestial bodies in the solar system. But now there's a very good news. We recently had the flight of the first vehicle in another planet. It was a vehicle that landed on Mars approximately some months ago, and now this helicopter flew in the Martian atmosphere. So now we have two planets with atmospheres, with vehicles flying in atmospheres, the Earth and Mars. So it is different. It are two different areas, but very complementary. In Universidad de Antioquia, we have the two programs. We have an astronomy program. It's a very good program in the Faculty of Natural Sciences, and the Aerospace Engineering program in the Faculty of Engineering, but on the East section. So yeah, that is the first point, to differentiate.
The other question that we have is that which web pages, which kind of books, or which kind of literature can people read to get contextualized on this?
Okay, very well. The first page is the NASA page, is the website. Sorry, page is another thing. The NASA website is a very good one, nasa.gov. Another is, I will type it here in the chat. The nasa.gov is a very good point. Another is JPL NASA JPL.gov. JPL is the branch of NASA that explore our solar system with the spacecrafts. All the spacecrafts that you that you see on Mars, on Saturn, or Jupiter are sent from JPL when they are American. But the European Space Agency have another interesting website. But now there are another player in space exploration, a big player, a big star that it is SpaceX, founded by Elon Musk, very known around the world because the electrical cars of Tesla and SpaceX that is really doing things, marvelous things, more powerful than a lot of space agencies around the world. So I recommend the SpaceX website, but more that website just to stalk to YouTube with these topics, SpaceX, the Elon Musk, the conquest of Mars by SpaceX, for example, and you can get a lot of information. Really, information you can get a lot in English.
Now we have another question. This is Michelle Pardo. Michelle, please ask the question. Michelle Pardo. Mitchell or Michelle. The question, should I read it? Michelle. Michelle Pardo. Ask the question to Julian, interact with Julian. Well, Michelle.
He has problem with the audio. He wrote in the chat. On the chat.
Oh, well. We are waiting, so you don't worry, be happy in a second. Meanwhile, if you want, I can read the question. I'm going to look for the question because it's up there. Yes. The question Michelle has is, which are the current researches? Well, what research are you on?
Okay. That is a personal question with a bit of nostalgia for me, because now I am really working on business. I am the CEO of this startup, so now I am a businessman. So I am not doing research at the moment, but we at our company, at our startup, have some research on board about small satellites. And now we are planning to launch in the next few years a small satellite to be put in space by the Boeing company. And the idea is that a lot of schools around our country and in Latin America can track the satellite, and with the sensors of the satellite have a lot of contents for learning about space and science, not only aerospace engineering, but science in general. For example, with a small camera, we can take photographs from space, and they can analyze the photographs to do science, or to sense the magnetic fields of around the Earth to learn about the electromagnetic laws in the levels of the high school, for example. So to have a satellite, you have to do research. That is what my team is doing. But personally, I am now focused as a CEO to direct the startup and to do the business and to have the budget. My next idea is that once this is running, again, I will go to the technical part and go to the engineering part. Really, I am an engineer.
Well, now look at that. This is very important to open the space to say that as long as we have different areas, different fields of study here, look at that. We have physics, we have psychologists. I think all these disciplines or well, I don't know, these humanistic and not only engineering areas could have a sector on investigation in aerospace engineering, because of what I said before, the interaction in a spacecraft demands a sociologist and a psychologist interacting with the group, how and telling them how they are going to manage stress while they are so far away from Earth.
That is a very good point. More than aerospace engineering, we can speak about space exploration, because space exploration is not a profession. It is a very big area of humanity. Or to speak about aviation, for example, if we are talking about atmospheric flight. So, for example, to deal with space exploration, you don't have to be an aerospace engineer. You can be a sociologist, for example. And in this moment, there is a very big controversy about space exploration, because the big companies as SpaceX or Blue Origin, that is owned by Jeff Bezos, the richest man of the world, really are looking for minery in space, in the celestial bodies, in the moon or in Mars, for example. And these have very big societal implications, because this is to take an economic system outside the Earth. How will be the laws there? How will be the interaction between between human beings working on the moon in minery, for example? What laws are the laws that we are applying to that society, the behavior of that society? So, for example, that is a very big example of how this is not only engineering. This is this is humanity. This is a point of how we are looking for a future society, a future global society, not only as Colombians, as Latin Americans, but as global citizens.
Let's ask the people their questions or their interaction. And here we have a Johanna Catalina with a beautiful cat on a picture. Johanna Catalina, do you have any question? Michelle, do you have any other question? Valentina, let's roll the list. Angela Maria, Diana Patricia, Daniela, Violet, David Alejandro, Juan David, tell us your questions. Laura. Or your
Hello?
impressions. Hello.
Hello. I
Diana
have
Patricia.
a question.
Yes.
I want to know what if there are a type of support about by the government for
very good.
For projects, for technological projects in the aerospatial field in Colombia.
Good point. Is there any government support, economical support, or any other support to invest or to continue working on these technological advances?
Really,
thank you, Diana
not.
Patricia.
Really not. That is the big point about space technology in Colombia. There is a commission working on it. Even I was part of that meeting this week with the government in Bogota about that point. But the big point is that Colombia doesn't have an office or an institution that manages space applications of space technology. The point of space technology, space agencies, is not only for exploration. The people in Latin American countries usually sees an space agency as an agency to put people on the moon, for example, but not. We need satellites to monitor our territory, to care for our territory and even the planet, and a lot of another applications that on Earth, on the ground. When you take your smartphone and call for something to be put on your home, you are using the GPS satellites, for example. You are all the time using space technology, and the countries know that Colombia is the only country in South America now without an space agency. This is shameful, really. This is not possible. But there are another options. Government is a very important option, but the private sector is another option. And I can tell you, Cipsela, for example, is an example of this. We are working with the private sector, and until now we are going well, and our perspective is very, very, very good. So the point is to inspire students and the people that if the government is not an option, of the government that tell you we don't have money for that, search for another opportunities. We are a global society now, not as 20 years ago when it was very difficult to get the financial the support for to finance projects just with the money of Conciencias or another institutions in the country. Go for it outside. And
I have a question. I mean, well, first, invite the people. Again, we are having a good interaction. Jessica, Daniela, Patricia, Alexander, tell us your, for example, which your profession is, what you do, and in that way we connect your profession, your interests with the topic. I just want to remind people a situation we had, let's say 20 years ago. I was in the university and there was a project because some people started looking for sources and they brought people from Germany to produce a cubic. That cubic would be a satellite that would be sent to the space with information about Colombia. I don't know if that, at the end, I never knew if that project was successful. They produced a cubic that was 20 centimeters square or cubic, because it was 20, 20, 20, 20 cubic. And the idea was to send it to orbit Colombia. And they said that it would be emitting information about Colombia with the Colombian anthem, Colombian history. I don't know what happened with that. Was it successful, or don't you have any information about that?
Really, I don't have any information if the Germans do that, but a story that I have, that the country have, is an opportunity that Colombia lost because the bureaucracies and the lack of governmental support. In 2007, the Sergio Arboleda University in Bogota launched a small satellite called CubeSat. It was 10 by 10 by 10 centimeters. And at that time, the technology was just beginning. And the technology transfer to the Sergio Arboleda University came from Stanford and Cal Poly universities in the United States. That was just beginning. Now, CubeSat's technology is a multi-billion-dollar business around the world. And Colombia had the opportunity to be pioneer in that field. Now, if we had at that time the support, the economical support for the government, for example, and even from some inversionists in the private sector, even maybe Colombia, at this moment, will be at the point to lead the small satellite market. But that was another of a lot of opportunities that Colombia has lost in several fields. And that is the history that I know at the moment with satellites in Colombia.
Tatiana, do you have any question? Tatiana Maria Betancourt. Tatiana Maria Betancourt, do you have any question? Or if you don't have a question, you can also share concepts, ideas, or experiences you have shared.
Okay, I work for a mining company, and it is wonderful to hear about the future on mining in the moon or the other planets. I think that aerospatial industry and aerospatial engineering is very important for that, because we need a lot to resources to move there, and to come back with minerals to be useful for our planet.
Well, now we have a good point. Tatiana works for a mining company, and she says that it would be fantastic for our planet to have the chance to go explore other planets and bring, metals to to our planet. Is it?
Yes, yes.
My,
Excellent.
my opinion is that really that is a very good opportunity because space has a lot of very interesting metals that are even in very small quantities on Earth. For example, iridium, platinum in space are abundant. The point here is more the societal impact. How we will manage to manage this kind of projects, this kind of resources. Even it is a fresh breath for the earth, because if we have the technology to do mining outside the earth, maybe the earth can breathe and we can have more forests and not mining on earth, for example, in a very long future. But the point here is how humanity will, the behavior of humanity. What will be the countries that we will go for the mining? Well, how we will share the billion of dollars, of the trillions of dollars of the industry on earth.
The point is that the one who gets the control of mining would have the control of the money and the political power on earth. That would be.
Because it's a very, very big change. We are talking about a trillion dollar industry. Really,
I don't know if all the people in here, all the attendees, or if you, Julian, saw recently, I think I saw it yesterday morning, that there is an asteroid that asteroid is gold and is pure gold. And they said that if that gold could be brought to the earth, that would be, well, the money on earth is nothing compared to the quantity of gold they could extract from that asteroid. First, I don't know how they managed to know that the asteroid is rich in gold. Second, hey, is it possible to bring an asteroid to the planet?
Just a correction, Professor. Sorry, is a platinum asteroid, not gold, but platinum. And the asteroid is called Psyche. And this asteroid really, the technologies in space exploration are pointing towards to have engines and a mix of aerospace and civil engineering. So, for example, you go to an asteroid and you can cave over the asteroid and put an engine to work on the asteroid. And you have a spacecraft. The asteroid has been converted in a small spacecraft, and you can have the guidance to put the asteroid in a trajectory towards the Earth, for example, towards an orbit around the Earth. And from an orbit around the Earth, you can have the machinery to bring the platinum to the surface. To extract, that is a better word, to extract.
Hey, but the idea is fascinating. You see, you catch this this
asteroid.
oh my God, I forgot the name. What's that? The asteroid?
The asteroid.
You catch it, you get it into orbit, and then you work on it. You extract the material and you bring it to the Earth. Wouldn't it affect, I mean, if there is an asteroid in our trajectory, wouldn't it affect gravity or wouldn't it have any effect on this relationship as it has it with the moon?
Really, it's very, very small. You affect it, but it's very small compared, because the mass of the asteroid compared with the mass of the Earth and the mass of the moon is very small. with the comparison.
And is
So,
that technology possible? I mean, is it really probable to make the asteroid get caught by our gravity and get it into orbit, in our orbit?
Not in this moment, but these people looks for decades of technology, for example. Why Jeff Bezos, for example, are investing lots of money in this industry? Why Elon Musk is investing in SpaceX, building very big rockets? Because the key here is the space transportation systems. You can have the asteroid, but how you will bring the material to the Earth? And even there are another companies that are looking for that future. Caterpillar, like the company that builds the machines that do civil engineering around the world, are now doing research in machinery to do mining in the moon and the asteroids.
Because the business is transportation.
Yeah, one thing is transportation. You need the rockets. You need the rockets, the trucks, to bring the material from space. And the other front is space civil engineering. How you will extract the material of these celestial bodies. But these companies are investing lots of money in this. So really, it will be the future. It will happen. I don't know when, if in 2 decades or maybe 50 years, but it will happen. Really, space mining is on their way. And there is another societal point here that the people that have to do with the space is discussing why the United States just 2 years ago founded a sixth military service called the U.S. Space Force. Is because they now understand the dominance, the needs to dominate space, as in the 19th century it was necessary to have a navy, or in the 20th century for the superpowers it was a need to have an air force. Now they know that they will need a space force because all the dynamics that will happen with this. So,
but teacher, is the same.
It's
the same history, but in the space. The war
now is moving to the space. Michelle Pardo has a question. Michelle, please.
Thank you. You can listen to me?
Yes, perfectly.
I'm sorry, I had problems with my microphone. I have a doubt about, I know, I listened that Colombia throw a satellite to the space, but my doubt is each country, how many satellites can throw to the space, or what is the politic about this?
I could understand all your question. Very, very good question. Okay, there is no limit to put satellites by a country on space, but there is laws about how to put a satellite. You have to inform to the United Nations if you are going to put a civil satellite, and to inform about the other satellites that there are in orbit, to design a new trajectory that don't impact with other satellites. So you can have 100, 200, even thousands of satellites in space of your own. But the point is to coordinate this with the office of the UNOOSA. It is the United Nations Office of Other Space Affairs. And this coordination is to avoid collisions, to avoid diplomatic problems. For example, if you can destroy another satellite because of bad trajectory design. But now that is another point of controversy about the space and the use of space, and is space debris. A lot of debris is generating because the activity is increasing very, very fast with the small satellites, with more rockets. And now the point is how we can coordinate all this, and the United Nations is without the power in this moment to coordinate all the things that are coming. And this is
Julian,
put over the table.
I have a question about those debris.
Sorry.
Would those debris impact, well, be risky and impact the spacecrafts? I mean, as long as there are many elements flying or how, I don't know, moving over there, and when you go up on your spacecraft, imagine, how high is the probability to suffer an impact?
At the moment, sorry, I am putting some of coffee on my brain because the conversation is very interesting with you. It's small at the moment, but the problem is that the activity is increasing very fast. For example, a rocket of an Elon Musk rocket, a Falcon rocket of SpaceX, can put now between 80 and 100 small satellites on orbit. Satellites of the size of 20 by 20 by 20 centimeters, for example. And another Falcon, 2 months later or 1 month later, another rocket puts another 100 satellites on orbit. So in some years, there will be a lot of satellites. And as technology advances, the window to have a trajectory for a rocket that is launched from the Earth to put a satellite in orbit will be smaller. And even the astronomers are worried about this point because the sky maybe can be contaminated, but really the sky will not be contaminated because the satellites are being putting in orbits that don't interfere with them. Interfere just at the moment of the launch and the first days, but after the satellites move to higher orbits, and it's not a problem for that.
So
but
can we see the stars after this? Will we be able to see the stars?
Be sure that it will be that way. The Elon Musk satellites interfere just in the first days, and even SpaceX is working in technologies that don't interfere in the first days even. But if you see a lot of satellites of the Elon Musk constellation, and you can go out to see the stars, and you don't see the satellites all the moment. So I am optimistic about that point. But the point is that a lot of debris without control, we have a very big problem to space navigation and space activities. And space activities are not only exploration. And I say, for example, the GPS satellites. You can, a question, this is a rhetoric question for all of you. You can imagine now a world without the global positioning system, satellite system, for example, without GPS. It's impossible.
Let's ask the people, can you imagine yourself, your life without the GPS technology? What do you say, people? People, what do you say?
No, it's very difficult because we adapt for this life, and you need to satellite for ubication, recommendations, and so on. And for the networks is very important. So we have today a great networks, and if you don't have satellites, I think that it's impossible achieve this kind of life and quality.
Excellent, very good point. Any other point? Very good point. Do you agree with Juan David, or do you want to add other point? Who wants to speak? Melanie, Maria Fernanda, Johanna, Sandra, hello, how are you? And Leonard. Sandra.
Teacher, I want to say...
fine, thanks, and you?
So good. Give me a second that Alexander is going to speak.
See, I need to say goodbye and thanks for the meeting because I have another meeting, and I want to thank to Professor Julian and you for the time. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexander, for joining us. And another
Thank you.
element is please remember fill in the format
Yes, I
and
feel
give us your recommendations and your applause. And the
okay.
other element,
I
and
wrote
the
I
other
wrote right
element is,
now. Uh-huh.
and I hope you feel so interested in this, and then why not you find the way to get connected with Julian or aerospace programs and run your projects and do research
I
on
think
your
that
area.
is very interesting point because I study today behavioral science, and I have question about the behavior of humans with new challenge. For example, the migration to green energy and the use
Mhm.
of new technologies. This is a
And,
topic very
and,
interesting.
and Alexander,
So,
can you
so
imagine the
really, if you can get connected, very good for me because now I have interests in this kind of societal impacts and not only engineering, but how a migration, for example, for greener technologies, will change the society, or as Elon Musk is telling, we will have a multiplanetary society. And this
Uh-huh.
kind of things is are of interest for me because I are looking more for the future. And in Cipsela, my corporation, we are looking for to teach to for the students on elementary and high school levels about the future and the responsibility as global citizens, for example. This is not only engineering.
So you
So
see,
yeah.
Alexander, Jessica, Leonard, Johanna, Juan David, all the people can get involved into this program and start working on some projects and do research. That is fantastic. You see, it's just these interactive areas that produce new things. So, Alex, you are welcome. And remember, if you want to contact Julian, just find Cipsela. Do you want, Julian, you can type your address so people can contact you if they want to talk or go deeper into different research or work.
Thank you, Julian. Thank you, teacher.
You're welcome.
You're
I am
welcome,
really
Alexander.
I am really happy because that's the idea. That's what we want happens in this conversation, that people get together, understand each other, explore ideas, and interact and find out new things to work together.
New challenge. Bye bye.
New challenges, that's right. Look at so www.cipsela.org or Twitter or Julian Arenas at cipsela.org. Excellent. Now you have the data.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.
You're welcome.
Bye bye.
My
You're
dear
welcome. Thank you
Sandra
very much.
Milena, we are speaking here about space engineering. What question would you like to ask our professor here? Would you like to travel to Mars? Well, apparently her connection failed. No, it is here. Sandra, Milena Alvarez, do you have any question? Michelle, Zoraida Trejos, please. Laura, tell us. David Alejandro, Jessica. In here, Juan David says he has another meeting as well. Thank you very much, Juan David. And now you have the information. Juan David is a psychologist, and that area would be also so important for this kind of projects. Julian, I want to ask a question, and this is, many people say or critic that investing that much money instead of or investing that much money in exploring other planets, in exploring other satellites, is not so worthy. Why don't we spend that much money on that engineering correcting the things we have on Earth? What do you say?
I have two lines for two answers. for that question. It's a typical question in space exploration. The first is that humans' curiosity is impregnated in humans. It is impossible to not go there if there's in another something unknown there. For example, humans left Africa hundred thousands of years ago, and now we have humans around the world. Humans explored the oceans, humans explored the mountains. Why the people go to the Everest, even it is dangerous. But so curiosity is very important for humans. It's in our new nature. So it is necessary to explore more, to explore more beyond the Earth, to the Moon, Mars, and beyond even. But the point, an economics point is this: is not the same to get innovation. This is a question more for innovation. I have worked on innovation in the past, on innovation research and these kind of things. And a very good point of innovation is that innovation is doing with big projects. We have to have big projects, and from that big projects, you can have the innovations that spread in another areas. You can take all this money to solve the immediate earth problems, hungry, water sources, and these kind of things. But you are killing innovation as a whole, and maybe in 2 or 3 decades you have a system without innovation, without curiosity, so you will not be able to solve the new problems. So it's important for a country to have very big programs, invest in that program, because these programs have results and spin-offs. For example, in education, in science, things that you won't have thinking about if you won't have worked on it. For example, the machines for the people that have problems with the kidneys. These kind of machines were designed for the space shuttle in the 1970s approximately, and now it is applied for science or for human welfare on medicine and a lot of applications. So the problem is that you can solve with that money the immediate problems, but you are killing all the innovation system, and that's the reason why the United States, for example, invest a lot of money on NASA, because they know that for every dollar invested in space, maybe 2 or 3 decades after they are returning $10 in another technologies.
That is a very good point. We have to change the point of view. I mean, the focus. We are just planning for 2 or 3 years, but in here we have to plan for 10, 15 in order to see the results. You see?
And the more important thing, to have a very big machine of innovation is not only as a disaggregated programs, disaggregated in civil engineering or maybe physics. Not, you have to have a very big programs. Another example is not my preferred example, but it's real. The Manhattan Project in the Second World War, the atomic bomb, basically. It was a disaster, a human disaster, really, but it is innegable that after the atomic bomb, there were a lot of nuclear technologies for civil applications, either medicine or agricultural applications, that the scientists won't have thinking about that kind of applications without the big project. So it is necessary for a country, for a machine of innovation, and it is a problem of Colombia, for example. Colombia takes the money and spread the money, the small money that we have, and spread it in a small project. All
disgregated.
The projects disgregated. You have that Colombia, for example, think in a nuclear power station, for example. For example, I am not telling that it is necessary, or on an Earth satellite for observing the Earth and care for our forests, or a big project that can integrate all the areas that can take to innovation. And this is the way that you can have a machine of innovation. An example of a country in our neighborhood that applies this technique is Brazil. Brazil all the time is thinking in big projects, and Brazil has a lot of societal problems.
They built airplanes. They built airplanes. And I don't know what information you have about this. Peru, long time ago, was a pioneer in this area, in spacecrafts and telecommunications. I don't know. And I remember, well, this is something to claim about our politicians. The ex-minister of education or something that was Geras, no, not Geras. This is, I forgot the name. He's from Cali. But remember that in the outer space, we have a band that is for telecommunications, and the widest band belonged to Colombia. But the administration of this Minister of Education, it was in the presidency of Virgilio Barco, if I am not mistaken. He gave away part of this wideband that we have on telecommunications to the United States. It was practically a donation.
But that is this is a big point, because really the claims of Colombia about a band about our country is not a very good claim, because this is a band 36,000 kilometers above the Earth. That is very, very far for the planet. You have jurisdiction of your territory within the atmosphere, approximately until 100 kilometers above the ground. But after that, space is as international waters, is of all the world. And this claim was put on the table just for 3 countries: Colombia, Burundi, and Angola. All the rest of the world agreed that it was necessary to have a space opened for everybody, for every country. And all the countries share information technology collaborations. And just recently, 1 month ago or 2 months ago, Colombia recognized that it's better to collaborate internationally and have no claims of sovereignty over space. And it was a mistake, really, to think about sovereignty on a point 36,000 kilometers. Is very, very far. So this is important to tell to the people that not necessarily it is a very good way to claim for sovereignty all the time. Is for example, Antarctica. Antarctica is another example. Argentina have claims over Antarctica, and this is ridiculous, because Antarctica is a neutral continent for all the world, for research, and even Antarctica has the advantage that is a point over all the world. There are prohibited all kind of tests, of kind of research on military things, for example, just scientific research. So this kind of things is important. Not all the time sovereignty is a very good way to for the welfare of a country. And
because in fact, if we had the economical power, and second, we had invested on research, and we had engineers that could, govern or use that space, that would be different. I have a question to the people: Diana, Patricia, Angela Maria, Johanna, Catalina, Michelle Pardo. Questions. Nicole, hello. What question do you have? Jessica, what question do you have? David Alejandro, Tatiana, Sandra, Juan Miguel, tell us.
I have a question for Julian.
Please.
Okay.
do you think or do you believe in extraterrestrial life or aliens? Or do you think the US government will disclassify this issue?
Excellent question. Good point.
This is the $1,000,000 questions. Really, I think that extraterrestrial life exists. Yeah, in another planet, in another stars. But the point here is the measure of the distance in the universe. So the other stars are very, very far. I don't, I don't believe that aliens are coming to Earth, flying in our atmosphere at abducting people, for example, that are not scientists, are not a very big politicians. It's crazy. The people abducted all the time are people with mental illnesses or with a lot of societal problems. So the point here is life outside the Earth, I believe in. Yeah, there are a lot of stars, a lot of planets, a lot of opportunities for another kind of life arising in another points of the universe. That is for me, that is real, that is a fact. But I don't believe in aliens flying all the time around the Earth, in our atmosphere, and these kind of stories that have left from New Mexico and Texas, mainly because there are a lot of military bases there where a lot of aircraft are being tested since the 1940s approximately. And that is the point why the alien movement began just as the era of the big military aircraft began. So yeah, that is my answer. They exist, but they are no coming to Earth to observe us and these kind of things. Sorry, Professor, the microphone.
Yeah, let's go on a row, asking people what their opinion is or what they know or the information they may have. Juan Pablo, Nicole, Leonard, let's begin. And you tell us about your, let's say, impressions or your expectations about aerospace engineering. Because aerospace engineering, as Professor Julian said, it is not only to travel abroad or to travel to outer space. We also have to consider the point that aerospace should be the engineer that could give us the opportunity to be as Brazil plane constructors, or we could have in our territory a kind of let's say mechanical center, so all the planes come here to get repaired, or that we could produce a different type of plane, an individual plane. Can you imagine? And the people first, what information would you like to share if you have read something? Because the idea is that you also share different points of view or questions. Anybody? Nicole,
Teacher,
Nicole. Excellent. Yeah, it's Nicole.
yeah,
Who's
I am.
speaking? Excellent.
Teacher, currently I have a question. I entered like 20 minutes ago to the class. So I listened that you were saying you were talking about space engineering and those things, but I don't have like the main idea. So I will be glad that you told me more or less what you're talking about.
Yeah. We have a special guest, Julian Arenas. He's an aerospace engineer. He has been the dean of an academic program. Now he is the CEO of a private company, Cipsela, and he works with different companies and projects promoting aerospace. Yeah, engineering. I mean, aerospace engineering. And aerospace engineering is all related to the construction or building of vehicles in order to travel around the planet and out of space.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's right, that's right. And what was your profession, Nicole?
My profession.
Mm-hmm. Do you
Like
study? Do you work?
Oh, okay. Actually, no, sorry. Currently, I'm studying. I'm
What do you
in
study?
I'm in eighth grade of high school.
Oh, you're in high school, Nicole. Fantastic. In eighth
Oh, yeah.
grade. Very good. Look at that. Cipsela has a good program to teach young people about these projects, and you could be one leader in your school. Where do you study,
What I
Nicole?
study?
Where?
Where? In Itagüí.
And what's the name of the school?
Is Antonio José de Sucre.
So you can invite the professor to a lecture in Spanish or in English in your school, and that would be fantastic.
And
Yeah.
I have another invitation for you. We will have run, if you are interested, we will run an aviation STEM program in the south part of our city, in La Estrella, maybe some parts of Envigado. It's for free even, and it's for high schoolers. So if you are interested, you can email me. We can put on list because we are going to begin approximately at the end of this month, of the next month. It's in aviation and aviation technologies. It's an STEM program where the students learn the concepts, building things, building airplanes, now in a lot of apps to track flight routers, and yeah, it's a very good program if you are interested in these kind of topics.
So pay attention. That is fantastic. Look at, you can be a promoter and tell your classmates, hey, look at, there is a program and we are invited. It's for free. You don't have to pay. And then you go and know how to make crafts and understand what this engineering is about. Very good, excellent.
Teacher, I have a question. Is virtual or presential?
Presential. It will be presential. Yeah.
Okay.
It will be in
very good.
person, so you can go there. Sandra, comments? Do you have any comments? Sandra Milena Alvarez.
Hello.
Hello.
I would like to know about courses for children.
Okay. So I will put, yeah, we have an offer until the moment. Our offer was because agreements with local governments, for example, Rio Negro, the Aburrá municipalities. But now we are opening our offer to children, even without the necessity to have involved in in schools or this kind of things. So I will put here another email that is an email of a person here at Cipsela that is compiling the information about the persons that are interested in these courses for children, because we will have an offer for the end of the year in this for this kind of audience.
And you generally have workshops in how to build rockets and aircrafts and this one that you are offering to Nicole is only in La Estrella or in Medellin as well? So now you can contact Luis.molina at cipsela.org. He is going to send you the information as long as you require it. You see? Well, now let's see. I have another question well, I don't know, before I continue. Nicole, Johanna, whom else is in here? Melanie, hey, Juan Miguel, David Alejandro, come on, tell us. Leonard, come on, tell us. Any question or any comment, any experience? Jessica, come on, tell us. Hey, Michelle. Oh, we have two Michelle Pardo and Michelle. So tell us, what do you have to say? Any other? Well, I have a comment. Oh, yeah, yes. Tell.
No, I am the same, Michelle.
Oh, Michelle,
Thank you.
Michelle, you are practicing something that in the future they are going to I don't know, create is this teletransportation. You have two images in one.
Mm,
Yeah, you
I,
split your image into two places. That is fantastic.
it will be fantastic. No, I have a comment
Mm-hmm.
about the aliens that we speak before. I know that in other planets like Venus, I believe, it found, I don't know if fossil or sorry, or thermophilic bacteria in this planet, but I don't know if are fossil or they are alive. Do you know some about this, Julian?
Okay, really, that is a question for an astronomer or an
Okay.
astrobiologist. But I have a personal answer. Not as an aerospace engineer, not as an aerospace professor, but as a citizen. Really, I think that to have this kind of life in our solar system, at the moment, it has been very difficult to detect, but it is a possibility, maybe. And another problem that we have now, and this answer is as an aerospace engineer, is that our spacecrafts are going there, and you can't guarantee that the spacecraft don't have any bacteria of any stromophil form of life going with the spacecraft to that planet. So maybe that celestial bodies are contaminated because our spacecrafts. There is an interesting area called astrobioethics, and this area deals with the point that to guarantee that our activity, our human activity exploring the celestial bodies, the other celestial bodies in the solar system, don't interfere with them, because maybe in the future you can find a bacteria, for example, on Mars, and when you analyze it, maybe it comes from a spacecraft of the past of our activity. So it's a very, very good point. I think that maybe in the next year we can find any form of life, even in our solar system. But the point now is to expand the concept of life. Life, we define life as we know it on Earth, but maybe there are another ways to have life, and this is another discussion. But I hear it of a NASA director in some years ago about the problem to find life is define first. What is life? Is only as we know it on Earth, our molecules, the basis of our life on Earth, that is the same for all the living things here, or there are another ways, another forms, based, for example, in another chemical compounds. Our life on Earth is based on carbon, but maybe silence is another possibility. So there is a discussion, but really this is a discussion of astronomers, of astrobiologists. I am just answering as a citizen that have heard something about that point.
Good
Thank you.
point.
Yeah, very
Good.
interesting.
Excellent, Michelle. Good question. You see, yeah, we never know that if the bacteria or viruses or any being we meet in the future would have been placed in there by our spacecrafts or vehicles, and who knows, they would evolve, they would grow, and then they would come and say, why did you send me there? Yeah. Well, people, comments, questions, or if you say that is enough, just tell me. Beatriz, David Alejandro, Melanie, Angela Maria, Diana Patricia, Miguel. What comment, what question do you have in mind? Or please tell us what you have learned today so everyone says something about this topic and we close the session. Tell me, please.
I have a question, teacher.
Go ahead.
Julian, do you think that in the future human will be made tourist trip to the space?
Sorry, say it again.
Do you think that in the future human will make tourist trips to the space?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Really, they began just 2 weeks ago with the flights of Richard Branson of Jeff Bezos. And the tourism will be more big than that flights. There were flights of 15 minutes just to go out to see the Earth from space and again to land on Earth. But Elon Musk is preparing a capsule that will go around the moon with tourists to see the moon for several days. So yeah, there will be the activity with tourists in space is a reality. Absolutely, yes.
So what we need is to collect some money to go there.
Yeah, that is the big point.
Well, fantastic. Now you don't see, I offer you the moon. Now you can say, I offer you a ticket to the moon.
The person with the money can tell that to the girlfriend or maybe for a date. I am offering you the moon. That will be a real possibility now.
And
the
I
problem
can
is
take
the
you
money.
there. That would be hard. Hey, people, I don't know, comments, everyone. Michelle has already spoken, Melanie, David Alejandro, Nicole, Beatriz, Johanna, Diana Patricia, do you have any comment? Jessica.
Yes.
Diana Patricia, tell us.
No, I want to say thanks to Julian for share his knowledge with us. Has been a very interesting session. Thanks for all.
You are welcome. Thank you for participating, really, and for inviting me.
And remember to fill in the information and the evaluation of the conversation. Anyhow, I am telling you to share your comments, but if you have any other question, we have some minutes to finish. Let's continue. Leonard, what do you say, Leonard?
Hi, Martina. Hi, Julian Arenas. I didn't want to participate because I joined late, so I think I missed out most of the discussion. But thank you for the space, and especially I already know a little bit about Cicela because my sister worked there. It's a beautiful, by the way.
Who is your sister?
Amalia.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Excellent.
I follow some of your activities, especially the rocket launch. It's very nice. So yeah, I do have a question for you. You were talking about innovation. How important is education program? This education program like Cipsela to encourage people to innovate? Like, what is the impact, I would say, for the society? I don't know. I would like to know what is your personal perspective about that, because I know Cicela worked with children and teenagers, and they are indeed the future of our country. Maybe they will be our next aerospace engineers.
Okay. The point here with Cipsela and the Cipsela mission is not only to encourage people to be aerospace engineers, or maybe to be a pilot or to pursue a career in aviation. For us, it's more important to inspire because space technology and aviation are very big vehicles to inspire the people, to inspire the children and young people. It's not the same to learn physics just with the chalk and the board, but with building an aircraft and learning how an aircraft can fly on the air, or maybe explaining how satellites can care for our planet. Maybe the children and young people that attend these our course are people that are going to be for forestry engineers, environmental engineers, civil engineers. But the knowledge that they got in our STEM courses is a knowledge for all the life. Curiosity, how to deal, how to integrate, for example, with electronics for another profession. And it is not the same to learn, for example, how you can integrate sensors to care for plants, as if you tell to these children the same thing, but in the context of Mars exploration, for example. So it's a vehicle, but our main mission is to inspire for science, for engineering, and not only for science and engineering, for global citizens. Our students maybe in the future will be lawyers, will be managers in companies, will be physicians or another professions. But the realities of our planet, the realities of how our planes fly, the realities of how we do space exploration for responsible minery with satellites are things for global citizens. It's not only for this kind of profession. That is the point.
Okay. Nicole has a question.
There are a personal question that I
Beatriz
here,
has a question.
I want to to answer
her.
it. Is from Beatriz Iseno, and the answer is yes. If I have the possibility to go to the moon, without doubt, we take the seat to go there. For me, for example, this is a bit of poetry in this as well. The environmental movement around the world began when the Apollo 8 took the first photograph of the Earth seen from the moon, because it was a very important moment in the human history. It was the first moment that people could see how fragile is the Earth on the space vacuum and the necessity to care for the planet. So for me, for example, the only 12 persons that have worked on the moon had the very big opportunity of the world in all times to have to be in another celestial body and to see the home planet from there is a point that I can describe.
Nicole has a question. Nicole.
Okay, so Mr. Julian, I have a question. Are you aware of a, I don't know, it's like a city that a lot of people are talking about that is going to be in, what's the name? I forgot it. Let me search it because I forgot.
Sorry, there was an interruption. Say it again.
That are you aware of a city that are going to build in Mars?
Really, Elon Musk.
Do you have any information about the city that they are planning to build in Mars?
Really?
Yes, or is a very crazy thing that is not going to be possible? Or yes, I don't know.
I have the same information that all the world have. The only information I have is that Elon Musk is pursuing to build a city as the first citizens in Mars. Even he had talked about that his desire is to be buried there when he dies. But the problem is the plan. The problem is to have an entire biology in that planet, even in a small in small spaces is very difficult. Biology is a very complex area, really, and it is not easy to have the same environment that you have on Earth. There have had several experiments on Earth about closed atmospheres with biology and closed environments isolated from the rest of the Earth in the desert of Arizona, New Mexico, and even on Antarctica. And all the experiments have been a failure. So really, I don't know how Elon Musk is thinking about that, but we have to wait. They are planning that, but the problem is not just to put the people, to put the technology, to put the vehicles. The problem is how to be sustainable in time for a city in another celestial body. The Earth is very complex. That is a very good point to have the message. Care for the Earth. It is another place in the in the neighborhood to go if we don't care for our own planet.
I mean, if he's thinking about making or building a city in another planet, imagine, I mean, he's a very rich man, you know, and I don't know, we always think that rich people know a lot of things that maybe citizens, normal citizens don't know. So I'm thinking, I don't know, it's just like an idea. If he's like a man that is he's very smart and those things, and he's thinking about doing a city in other planet. Imagine, like how is he thinking that how bad are we going to be in a future if we don't care?
So the point is that you say that they have the money, they can build up a city there, but if we don't change our attitude, we will continue doing wrong in other planets.
So they have been like seeing or watching our attitude, and maybe we are not making it good at all.
Yeah.
That's the truth. We don't care, and most of the people don't care because it's just there. The earth is there, and that's it. So yeah, imagine those people have that have the you know the possibility to do
To take this trip.
laboratories and a lot of things that like experiments. Yes, they have so yes they have seen sorry they have seen a lot of things that we are not going to be good at all in a few years. So that's my point. We are not going to be good at all. So that's why they are thinking that to build a city in another planet, because this one is not going to be alive for a lot of years.
So you say the earth is going to be destroyed and we need other place to live in. There is another question here, yeah, just to finish with this. Will the trip be very expensive? Will be accessible to the people?
Sorry, say it again.
Here is, will the trip be very expensive? Will it be ever accessible to people?
That is the point. That, for example, Elon Musk is telling that he is building a very big spacecraft that will have the chip technologies and serial production enough to have cheap travels and to put a lot of people on Mars. We don't know, really there are a lot of challenges to put people and to build cities on Mars, and there are not necessarily technological challenges. To build a spacecraft as an aerospace engineer, I can tell you maybe with a lot of money and a lot of engineers, you can do that. But how will be the problem is more psychological, the behavior of the people, the human factors. How will the people at that planet, how will be the behavior between them? How will be the psychology? How will be, for example, if there is a crime between them, with what laws? That was the one of the first points of this conversation today. So yeah, the human factors are the main point to found cities in another planet and to do the travel, not the technological issues really. And NASA knows it very, very good because they have had space flights during approximately 60 years. So NASA is telling Elon Musk, yeah, you can put the people there, but there is a lot of other things. For example, the body, the body is not the same under the air conditions as it is under Mars conditions with lower gravity, radiation, and another kind of factors. So that is the point. It is not easy. Maybe we can go there upon the cities. And the other point that I can put here is yeah, it's important to have the technology if it is necessary to go to another place on the universe, because maybe a cataclysm, a very big cataclysm over our Earth. But it is easier to care for our planet that now it works, and to build another planet similar to the Earth. So you can have the two approaches, because you can have the B plan in case of a cataclysm, but not take the B plan as the A plan. It is necessary to care for our planet more than think to replace it with another bodies, celestial bodies that are very complicated to transform, for example.
Well, I
have a last question. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yes. Yeah, yes.
It's for Julian. What do you think is the first step that we need to do to involving ourselves in our special industry matters, even if we are other kind of professionals, but we can maybe we want maybe participate of projects that involving our special matters and give our contribution to that.
Completely. Aerospace technology, science and technology is one of the areas with the broadest, including a lot of professions. In aerospace technology, there are involved since biologists, physicians, to medicals, to engineers of all the areas, even with, for example, people that studies societal issues, or psychologists, for example. So the possibility to get involved in this area is complete. For example, the Universidad de Antioquia, the East Sectional, has a program, very interesting program, called Cooking Sciences, in Spanish, Ciencias Culinarias. And this program is a program that when I was working in the aerospace engineering program there, they asked us how we can get involved in that area, and it has all to do what is the food of the astronauts, what will be the dietary complements for the people that are going to Mars or the Moon, for example, for the next future, and this need of the people that are professionals in aliments, in other areas that you don't think are necessary in space exploration, for example. So you can be even a lawyer, and it is necessary. We need lawyers in this kind of things.
Excellent. Thanks. Do you have any other question, Tatiana?
No. Teacher, I was going to say that imagining we haven't discovered our planet at all yet, how are we going to do another in other part?
That's a good point. That's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah. That is a big point. It is necessary to have the B plan. Yeah, because, for example, an asteroid killed the dinosaurs 300 million years ago. So if there is a cataclysm that is threatening the Earth and the life on Earth, we need to have the technology and the B plan for that. But do not consider to build another planet as a replacement for our planet. It's easier to carry our plan for our planet. So that is the message.
That's a good
Have a
point.
plan B, but not take the point that where are we are going when we destroy our planet. That is really ridiculous. And I know it's telling it for you because you are putting very good arguments. I are telling for a lot of people outside this conversation that have that argument. What we will do when we destroy our planet? We need to have another planet, another technology to go anywhere.
Yeah, many people say, hey, if we, now we are destroying the planet, so we have to look for another. No, that's not the point. The logic is we should, of course, invest, discover, because as you mentioned at the very beginning, humans have that insight, that is curiosity, look for other things, explore other things, move forward. Even though sometimes we want to stick to the same old traditional things, but we want to make changes. And I really appreciate this time, Julian, to all the people who all the people who have been with us all this time. All the questions were really interesting. The conversation was successful because there were questions, interactions, comments, and I really appreciate it. Remember that we have this form to fill in and evaluate the conversation. You can tell us your opinion, your comments, your suggestions, your applauds, and you can invite us to have a coffee next time in the university campus when they open it. Sandra, thanks a lot. Thanks a bunch for staying here. She's another English teacher at the University of Antioquia, and I am really glad she's in here with us. And she's motivating her children to be part of this Cipsela or any spacecraft workshop you may program. Remember, tell the people that we have this space. And Sandra, would you like to say something before we finish? Sandra.
No, just thanks for the information and thanks to you for these spaces to share with us.
You are welcome.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much,
people.
Julian.
Please fill in the form. And I am really glad because, Julian, I think we achieved the goal to make people know what aerospace engineering is about. We hope that the scope gets widened and that people look for this as an option in the future, or at least consider that in the future we have to think about this. And I hope someday in Rio Negro we have the mechanical workshops that serve the world to come to receive all the airplanes and they repair them, and we repair as well spacecrafts. Thank you. Have a good afternoon. Say goodbye, Julian.
Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Take care.
Thank
Julian,
you. Goodbye. Thank you.
Would you like to say some words at the end? Bye-bye. Thank you, Jessica,
Martin,
Michelle.
could you share with us the link again? Because I lost my connection and I am not able to find the link.
Immediately.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. There it is, Tatiana and Nicole. Diana Patricia, thank you. Angela Maria, David Alejandro.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Bye,
Thank you,
bye.
Angela. Bye-bye. Keep in touch. Tatiana, do you see the form? Angela, thank you. We wanted to listen to you, but you didn't speak.
It's very interesting because
I like listen because it's very important for me and educate my listening.
That's right. That's right. That is a good practice. You have to be courageous, go explore, and in that way you learn.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed
Thank you,
this
Leonardo.
conversation. Yeah, it was very meaningful for us, like to have this conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Leonard. I really appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Bye-bye. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. In here we have Tatiana. Tatiana, that is filling in the format. Thank you, Julian. I really appreciate it. I hope you had enjoyed it.
Yeah,
And
I enjoyed it very much, really.
and there will be more calls to program.
Yeah. Invite me. Yeah, even with the specific topics, it can be. And yeah, so we have pending a coffee on the each sectional when it will be possible. Maybe
That's right.
at the end of this year or the next year, but
Or
I
next
want
year,
to go there again.
or whenever you pass by here, Rio Negro.
Yeah.
Man, a
Sure.
pleasure. I really appreciate it, and I think the goal was achieved. People enjoyed it. People explored different topics, and that was what we wanted.
Thank you very much. Really, I enjoyed this time a lot.
Hey, say hello to Pineda.
Sure, sure. I will see hi from you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Take care.
Bye bye. Okay. You too. Thank you.